Hello everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to cover the third match of the professional entrance examination for Shogo Orita. So the black is Hiroshi Yamamoto, 4th dan player. He is quite famous as a Swinging Rook player, and in his blog he talks about this match and said that he did anticipate Orita to really study the third file Swinging Rook strategy, and there was an advantage for Yamamoto to choose a different opening and thus kind of waste Orita's preparation. But he also said that there aren't many opportunities where you can play against a player who literally is going to stake his professional career on defeating a certain opening. So it was an amazing opportunity for Yamamoto to play within such a intense and sincere context. So he does choose the third file rook opening against Orita here. And then, of course, Orita comes into this game winning one and losing one previously. It's best of 5, so he needs to win 2 more matches out of the next 3. So this is a very crucial match for Orita. So let's see how this plays out. So the first move by Yamamoto is rook to 7-8, and already this is quite an interesting move in that normally you choose pawn to 7-6 or pawn to 2-6. However, the advantage of this is if white plays pawn to 3-4, which is quite an ordinary move, then silver to 6-8, and then against pawn to 8-4, pawn to 7-6, pawn to 8-5, instead of defending the 8th file, you can just play the king to 4-8, and if white attacks the 8th file, then you exchange the bishops and sidle the gold general to 7-9, defending the knight. And if white promotes the rook, then you can exchange the rook with rook to 8-8, and after rook captures, gold captures. Black's pieces are much more developed compared to white's, so this is slightly better for black. So this opening already has an interesting variation, but white goes with pawn to 8-4, and as you will see, this just ends up being an ordinary third file rook opening. So black pushes pawn to 7-6, pawn to 8-5, bishop to 7-7, defending, pawn to 3-4, pawn to 6-6, silver to 6-2, silver to 6-8, king to 4-2, king to 4-8, king to 3-2, silver to 3-8, bishop to 3-3, silver to 6-7, pawn to 5-4, king to 3-9, silver to 5-3, king to 2-8, gold to 5-2, gold to 5-8, king to 2-2, pawn to 1-6, pawn to 1-4, pawn to 5-6, and pawn to 4-4. So what's interesting here is that white actually pushed the edge pawn to pawn to 1-4. So this kind of suggests that although Anaguma is still an option, white might be considering other openings as well. As for black, black basically wants to complete the Mino castle and then also complete the attack formation with rook to 7-6, the floating third file rook, or the Ishida variation. And yeah, so let's see what white is up to. So black pushes pawn to 4-6, white moves gold to 4-3, still undecided, pawn to 7-5, so going for the Ishida variation, and silver to 3-2. So here it's very interesting how Orita could have chosen Anaguma, which is a stronger castle, and this would probably have increased his chance of winning as well. But he instead opts for the Mino castle, so now it's a mutual Mino. So instead of, in terms of the strength of the castles, they're actually even. So here again we see kind of Orita's, I guess, sportsmanship, although this is an intellectual sport. He really wants to win this game through technique and not because his castle is simply better than the opponent's. So from here, Yamamoto tries to complete the attack formation, so bishop to 6-8, and then an edge pawn on 9-4, this just preventing the bishop coming down to 9-5 in future. and then Yamamoto responds with pawn to 9-6. This is interesting in that Yamamoto also had the option of exchanging the pawn on 7-4, but once you exchange those pawns, then after a pawn drop to defending, I mean, the rook doesn't really have a good place to go back to. So if the rook comes back to 7-6, which is the Ishida variation, then silver to 6-4, and then bishop to 5-7, bishop to 4-2. And usually in this kind of situation, you can push the pawn to 6-5, attacking the silver, but after silver captures and rook comes down, and of course white continues attacking the 8th file, when knight jumps to 7-7, silver can go back to 7-4 because there's no pawn on 7-5. So this is not a very advantageous variation for black. So black instead will, instead of coming back to 7-6, black will need to come all the way down to 7-9. And this is a bit of an awkward position for black's rook to stay. Definitely no kind of path forward in terms of the Ishida variation. And white just has to continue to develop, and black is in an awkward situation here. So instead of exchanging the pawns, Yamamoto opts for 9-6. Again, 9-6 is a little bit of a strange move in that, I mean, the knight is not going to go to 9-7 and the bishop is at 6-8, so you can't really use the bishop at the edge as well. So there aren't many advantages for black to push that pawn, and there isn't really a need to push that pawn either. So personally, I would have loved to see a variation where that pawn wasn't pushed and the move was spent on something else. But yeah, let us know what you think. So from here, white defends the 7th file, and then black also completes the Ishida variation, and then silver comes up to 6-4, and this time black can push the pawn here at 6-5, and then after silver captures, the rook comes down. And of course, next, if white doesn't do anything, then the silver is captured with knight to 7-7, so white needs to attack. So white pushes the pawn to 4-5. If the knight goes up to 7-7, then white can actually advance the silver to 6-6 and exchange it on the 6-6 square thanks to the bishop. So black just captures back, and then white pushes the pawn to 8-6. Knight jumps to 7-7, a silver push, silver captures, rook captures, and then pawn captures back on 8-6. At this point already, it's not really working very well for black, to be honest. I mean, the silver wasn't captured, and the 8th file is pretty much lost. And then white's bishop is also wielded, and black is really having a hard time using the rook and the bishop. So I would like to take you back a few moves back in time. So yes, at this point, after silver to 6-4, instead of the pawn push here, there was a better move that could have actually led to a completely different game. So I would like you to pause this video, think about the next move, see if you can find the correct move which Yamamoto missed. So if you did see the move, then congratulations, you are a very good player. The correct move would have been bishop to 5-7, anticipating the attack on the 7-5 pawn. Of course, at this point, white is going to continue attacking in the center, but then after pawn captures back and silver captures back, black can push the 6-5 pawn, threatening to capture the silver. So again, you're forcing white to continue attacking. So white will push 4-5, wielding the bishop, and then after black captures back, a pawn drop on 5-4. Of course, an exchange will lead to black promoting the bishop. So, white promoting the bishop. So black comes back to 3-9, and then rook comes to the 5th file. So this is still a complicated middle game. I mean, after knight to 7-7, it's pretty much even. However, at least black is using all the pieces and is a pawn up, and white doesn't really have an obvious winning plan in the short term. So this would have been a much more interesting match compared to what happens in the actual progression. So yeah, let's go back here. And then a pawn drop on 4-8. This really hurts. So if gold captures back, then white wheels the rook on h6. And then after the rook goes to 4-9, defending the gold and also kind of getting out of the way, white promotes the rook on 8-8 anyway. And then after the knight runs away, white goes after the knight anyway. And then pawn to 6-7, bishop goes back, and then a silver drop. It's still there's still some chance for black, but white basically promoted the rook, while black's rook is pretty much dead there, and the Mino castle is also a little bit awkward on black's side. The bishop is definitely not doing much. The knight is about to be captured, and black is made to attack, which is always not a good thing when you're in a mirror match like this. But still, this would have been probably slightly better. So in the current progression, black sidled to the gold to 3-9, thus kind of implying that it's willing to go into a mutual attack, to an attack race. So white wheels the rook anyway, and then black drops silver on 4-4. It again, I mean, if you play Swinging Rook, you would know that dropping a silver here against a Mino castle doesn't really feel that effective. To be honest, you want to drop a knight or a lance there, not a silver. So already this kind of tells you that black is a little bit desperate, looking for complications. So white promotes the rook, and black captures the gold general on 4-3. White captures back, and then black also forces white to make a decision about the rook. And white accepts the rook exchange on 7-9, and bishop captures back, and then another rook drop on 7-8. A really, really tricky rook drop to defend against. So first, black checks with rook to 8-2, white defends with silver 3-2, and then black clashes the bishop against white's bishop. This is an interesting move. Of course, capturing the gold on 5-8 will result in capturing the rook on 6-6 with check, so that doesn't work. So instead, white captures the bishop, and after capturing back, white continues attacking with tempo. And then after it captures, a bishop on 3-9. Again, black could have gone for bishop to 6-6, to be honest. And again, this would have been slightly more interesting, but it's similar. Like at this point, as you can see, white's Mino castle is pretty much untouched, whereas black is just falling in pieces. So for white, it's just a matter of deciding how to win. But remember that this is a really, really crucial match for Orita, and he just doesn't want to give black any outs for a potential reversal of the game. So from here you will see that white will continue playing for about close to 100 moves actually, just to make sure that the game is absolutely in its favor and that there is no reversal. So here black could have opted for bishop to 6-6 check, also defending the 5-7 square, but white would have countered with silver to 5-5, and of course, you know, with the threat to checkmate with bishop 3-9 is there, so black can't capture this back. So black drops the gold on 4-9 instead. White captures the bishop, black captures the dragon, white captures the gold, black captures back, and then a bishop drop on 4-8. And again, there's a threat to checkmate on the 3-9 square, and also the gold will be captured. And again, the Mino castle is untouched on white's side. The rook doesn't really do much against that, and this is a completely winning game for white. Okay, so instead, black defended with bishop to 3-9. White retreats with with dragon to 7-8, and then black again drops gold to 4-9 defending, and white also drops a gold to 7-1. This was actually a fantastic move in that black is out of resources, and white knows that it doesn't have to rush. And yeah, this is really, I mean, after you exchange rooks again, that gold general is going to prevent a rook drop. So it's not a wasted piece at all. So this was a brilliant way for white to kind of substantiate the lead. So black comes back to 8-8, and then dragon captures, pawn captures back, and then again rook drop on 6-9. So white gets to drop a rook, and white gets to threaten to capture the lance and potentially even the knight, whereas black really doesn't have anywhere to drop the rook, and then black's bishop is pretty much dead there, whereas white can drop white's bishop wherever he pleases. So here black pushed lance to 9-8, and this could actually have been the fatal move, to be honest. So Yamamoto, although Yamamoto wrote a blog commenting on the game, he didn't really comment much on the moves that he made, except for this move. So he highlights this one move and says this was his, in his own words, he called this move lousy, in that he didn't really think about it too carefully. The idea was that he wanted white to drop the bishop, which white did, and actually he was preparing a counterattack from here. But in retrospect, he says, yeah, he was a little bit. Actually, he thought that this was not a bad game for black, in that what looked like a disintegrating Mino castle has been saved, and there aren't any immediate losing variations that black can see. So he actually wasn't too pessimistic about this board, but again, he should have just went for something like gold to 5-8, further substantiating the defense. And after white captures the lance, maybe again bring the bishop up to 5-7. The thing here is that, I mean, black really needs to start repairing the castle if he wants to win, and he didn't do that with the lance move. Instead, he was trying to trap white into dropping that bishop, but it turned out that it was actually black who was trapping himself. So white drops the bishop. It's a fork between the 4-9 gold and the lance, and black, of course, pulls back the second gold general. White captures on 9-8, and then a rook drop to 6-6. Again, you know, if white captured that rook back, then you can capture it back with tempo. But of course, white isn't going to capture that rook, so white is going to threaten the knight. And after the rook promotion, white can drop her lance on 6-1, and after dragon to 5-3, silver to 4-2, dragon to 4-4, and then silver coming up to 4-3, you actually kind of captured the dragon. And I mean, you know, black really doesn't have much to do if black can't even wield the dragon, let alone the bishop. So you can see the lance on the 6th file is absolutely amazing there, and all of white pieces are doing a really good job in both defending and attacking, whereas black is completely basically frozen the board. So this was maybe the last chance black had to keep the ambiguity. So instead of dropping a rook on 6-6, black could have played bishop to 5-7, and then after the horse just coming back to 7-6, maybe black could have played something else like pawn to 6-7, or a rook to 6-8, something like that. Again, because the gold general is on 7-1, black really can't capture the lance or the knight, so there isn't really much to do in terms of attack. So at this point, white is winning, but the actual variation in the game really sealed the deal for white. So from here, I'm just going to play you the moves to go to the end of the game, since at this point, black is just playing, but black knows that he can't win anymore. So rook promotes on 7-9, rook promotes on 6-3, and then we've seen the capturing of the dragon. So dragon captures on 4-3, silver captures back, and then a silver drop on 5-3. It's really amazing how 5-3 is literally the only square, maybe 8-3 as well, but there are only 2 squares in white's defense where black can drop any piece. And again, even the 8th file pawn is on 8-8, so you can't even drop a pawn on the 8-2 square or the 8-3 square. So, I mean, black really doesn't have any attacking options here. So silver to 5-3, but this is really desperate, and white pushes pawn to 5-5, just thus clearing the diagonal of the horse. This is a really amazing move. And then pawn push to 4-4, silver goes back to 3-2, and then a silver drop on 4-2, but a rook drop on 4-5, again with tempo. So next next white wants to capture on the 4-2 square and then just take away the pawn on 4-4 as well, also threatening the 4-9 gold general. Black captures on 4-1, silver captures back, and then black tries to stop the lands and the horse while also trying to wield the bishop somehow on the 3-9 square. So from here, instead of capturing on the 4-9 square, which probably could have just as well been fatal, again white opts for the safe route, so capturing the knight, and then a gold drop to 3-6. Again, this captures the rook, but you have to spend the gold, so it's not much of a consolation. So rook captures on 4-9, silver captures back, and then the horse comes back on 6-5. And again, the horse's diagonal is beautifully defending white's formation, and then the lance is coming back to life again on the 6th file. The dragon is very much doing a good job there, so it's a completely winning game. Rook drop on 5-1, gold drop on 3-1 defending, and silver promotion on 5-2. Silver captures, dragon captures back check, and then a pawn drop on 4-2. Bishop comes up to 5-7, but again, a silver drop on 3-2 defending. You can just feel Orita going, I'm not going to lose no matter what. And this really, I mean, your soul would be crushed if somebody did this to you in a public match. But Yamamoto, again, he didn't really say much about why he continued playing, but he must have been feeling very, very conflicted at this point. But yeah, Yamamoto keeps on playing, so bishop to 4-6, dragon to 7-8, and then an edge attack on 1-5, but a silver drop on 4-7, edge attack capturing on 1-4, pawn drop to 1-2 defending, again not giving any outs to black, and then a pawn drop on 6-8, and dragon goes into 6-9, so again completely winning for white. Gold sidles to 4-8, and knight drop onto 4. Gold goes up to 2-5. Silver captures on 4-8. Silver captures back, and the horse goes to 5-6. Silver drop on 4-7. Dragon to 4-9, and another silver drop on 3-9. Again, using up all the pieces and still barely defending. Horse captures on 4-7. Silver captures. Dragon captures. Bishop to 5-5. Silver drop on 3-3 defending, and then a bishop drop on 3-8. Dragon comes back to 4-5, threatening the gold general. Gold captures on 2-4, pawn captures back, and a knight drop on 5-7. Dragon goes to 3-5, and dragon comes back to 5-4. And then a silver drop on 4-6. Bishop captures, dragon captures, and a knight jump to 4-5. A bishop drop on 6-6. Knight captures on 3-3. Silver captures back, and a silver drop on 4-7. Dragon comes back to 4-4. Dragon captures. Bishop captures. Rook drop on 5-1. gold drop on 3-2. Again, at this point it's unnecessary to defend, but white just will not allow black to do anything that could make the game ambiguous. So black pulls back the dragon on 5-6, and then a rook drop on 6-9, a pawn drop on 5-4, pawn drop on 5-2, silver drop on 5-5, and bishop goes back to 6-2, pawn push on 3-6. At this point, black is even running out of moves that it could make. And at this point, I would like you to again guess the next move by white. This is a beautiful, beautiful move, but it's a matter of deciding how to win, I guess. And there are many attacking moves from white's side against black's castle, but I would like you to find a move that actually many professionals thought that if white can make this move, then Orita surely has the abilities of a professional. So if you did see the next move, then congratulations, you do have the abilities of a professional too. So the move Orita made was gold to 7-2. This is a very I mean, it's hard to explain why this move is so beautiful, but if you see how the bishop can go down to 7-1 and the lance opens up again, you're trying to win with using the whole board instead of just focusing on the king. Instead of the gold push, I mean, white could easily have made something like moved something like a pawn push to 7-4, but then after a few moves, the attack kind of stalls for a while, and although it's still a hopeless game for black, there isn't much art in this way of winning. Whereas in the actual game, after the bishop goes in there, I mean, the edge pawn on 9-4 has done its job, so now the bishop can come up to 9-3 if it wants to. The lance is beautifully kind of blocking the 6th file, and after a few moves, you'll see that the lance promotes on 6-7. So now an exchange between a lance and one of the metal pieces is a guarantee. And it's actually with this lance promotion that Yamamoto resigned the game. So at the end of the day, it's a 170 move game, which is very long, but the game was pretty much decided around the middle of the game. And the last 100 moves was just Yamamoto playing and Orita deciding how to win. You can really feel Orita not wanting to give Yamamoto any outs, and the gold push on 7-2 towards the end of the game was a really beautiful way to win, which impressed many professionals who were watching this match. So I hope you enjoyed this match. Please subscribe, like, and share if you would like to see similar contents, and I will see you next time.